Welcome to this aerial tour of Silverstone Village. We approach the village from the A43 and Brackley Hatch direction above Hazelborough Wood. This dense woodland is a survivor of the extensive ancient royal hunting forest of Whittlewood. Ideally located between the royal centres of Oxford and Northampton, Whittlewood afforded an opportunity for the Norman kings of England to follow their favourite pursuits of hunting and horsemanship. And Silverstone, or Silverton, translated as the woodland settlement, would have been at the very centre of this forest. Once clear of the ancient Whittlewood, we follow the alignment of West End, tracking northwards, where we see a group of 17th century houses and an eclectic mix of generally post-war development. It is likely that the very regular plot divisions along West End represent medieval planned development, and the possible reason for such planning comes into view. Look for the rectangular crop outline adjoining the copse of tall oaks. This is the remains of a large rectangular moat which was a most prominent feature on the 1900 Ordnance Survey map, now sadly almost obliterated by 20th century ploughing. The moat is almost certainly the site of the royal residence occupied, it is recorded, by 5 Angevin and Plantagenet kings of England, including the powerful Henry II and his sons Richard the Lionheart and King John of Magna Carta fame. The royal residence would have been ideally situated at the forest edge, where the Silverstone Brook and a tributary from the forest converge to fill the moat and provide a water supply and sanitation. It is conceivable that the moated site was just the defensive focus for a palace complex here. Passing over Coronation Terrace, we come to the SRA playing fields and the remains of another medieval monument, almost certainly linked to the royal residence. As we lift off to look at this feature, we rise over the playing fields to view an area that once would have contained one of the largest artificial water bodies in the Midlands of England, some 650 metres long. This lake would have provided fish for both the royal residence and Luffield Abbey. Look in the middle distance and you can see the dam, now sadly breached, which indicates the furthest extent of this large water feature. We believe that the area between the lake and the residence could have been laid out as pleasure gardens for the royal party, which would have been numerous. Before we continue on our tour, we look back south and we are able now to see the distinct form of our village, a virtual donut of built form enclosing a highly attractive area of countryside which much resembles classic parkland. This is the green heart of the village, and we perceive a village structure which has endured for 1,000 years and which we are committed to protecting in perpetuity. Our viewpoint now focuses on the village centre, the conservation area and St Michael's Church. Watch for the service traffic plying its trade along the narrow streets in the historic core of the village. To the left are the medieval breeding ponds, where the fish fry would have been reared for later release into the larger lake to provide winter protein for the royal visitors and entourage and for the monks of Luffield Abbey. Notice the profusion of mature trees in and around the village centre. It is almost as though the forest is attempting to reclaim its former territory. Now we are approaching the village from the north, past the fairly recently constructed woodyard built on land once part of Silverstone Fields Farm. Further on is Hamilton Fields, stretching towards Kingsley Road. To the right of the road is our magnificent new school, recently completed with significant planning gain contributions from the Bovis development. This is a school which is world-class in its conception and design, and which provides a superb learning environment for our younger pupils. It has also altered the geography of the village and will, no doubt, contribute to increasing the desirability of living in our community. Returning to the centre of the village, we pass over St Michael's Church, the White Horse Pub and Crofts Stores, and up along the High Street where the traditional older stone-built houses still dominate the area. As we travel along the high street, we see again, to the right, the start of the green heart of the village. A closer 360-degree look at this area, which is bounded by Church Street, High Street, Cattle End and West End, demonstrates why this strategic space is so cherished by residents and how it clearly delineates the distinct areas of the village. In another view, we see part of the Green Heart as viewed from the area between Cattle End and Upper West End. Notice how areas abandoned by agriculture are being reclaimed by nature and are reverting inexorably to the forests they once were. Here to the north, partly within the parish and a very important adjunct to it, is Silverstone Circuit, home of the British Grand Prix. Whilst there is doubt over its future here, we hope that the Grand Prix will remain at Silverstone for many years to come and continue to bring employment, business and vitality to, probably, the most famous village in the world. The neighbourhood plan will seek to protect the precious green assets of the village and our shared heritage. It will put in place a framework for the future sustainable evolution of the village and bring our facilities into the 21st century. It will ensure that any housing which is developed in the future meets strictly local needs only, in locations determined by villagers.